We're back at it again once more on the analyst desk here ahead of a big time, arguably the biggest game of the season so far for CCG. Game number 3 in their ACL Week 4 matchup against Exodia Exile, a 3-0 team from the Demacia division. Their first cross group play, and it's been two pretty one-sided games so far, Keepsake. So does that mean we're in for a banger game 3?
I am really concerned for CCG because you have to consider, since EXE has gone to game 3 every single time and won all their series, they have won every single game 3 so far. I am really concerned for what CCG is going to do. Now, they are red side, so hopefully they're going to use those counter picks and go back to the style they played in game 1 because that's what they were good at. That's what they showed us they had confidence in. I want to see that meatball comp, that scaling comp, that just get ahead early, play scaling, win.
Well, there you go. It sounds easy. We'll have
So
to
yeah,
figure out if it executes that easy. And
put me in there. I won't do anything.
put me in there. I won't do anything. We're both in the same there,
Yeah.
Keepsake. But it's interesting, right? Because Kitsuo picked Rek'Sai in game number 1. That's a champion that doesn't play that sort of style that you mentioned that you want to see from CCG. So what do you want to see from Kitsuo? Because we were talking about debuts in the middle of the season. Does it get much rougher than game number 2?
Ooh, yeah. So Kitsuo, he had the idea. He had the idea of, hey, our bot side is like extremely winning and top should win on its own. But if I stomp bot side and like, because Ornn's gonna be a problem no matter what.
Right.
But if Lucianami are like out of the game, then we just win, and it's literally coasting. So that idea is good. That idea is fine. The way he did it, repeat gank upon repeat gank upon repeat gank, never got anything done. Got the flashes, and then you're thinking, okay, well now he's got the flashes, he'll get something. The dive, he dived when there were no minions under tower. He forced his flash, his ADC's flash and cleanse, and he forced his support to die, which later cost him the setup on the drag. What just an unfortunate sequence of events. I want to see him this time set up better, but don't pull the trigger too early. I want him to wait until he sees the opportunity. Just sometimes sit in that bush. Again, like when he was sitting in that bush, and then he just got out of the bush. He should just stay in the bush.
Stay in the bush and just stay patient, right? That's a really good way to put it. I do want to say Decker also on the side of EXE really answered that Rek'Sai well. I know we had a really wacky draft. It's funny that I say answered because the Rek'Sai actually got picked after the Sandra, but being able to have that frozen tomb available whenever Kitsuo came out of Void Rush would just nullify that jump forward, that assassination kind of play every single time. So it really nullified what Kitsuo wanted to do. So good on EXE as much as we kind of want Kitsuo to say he had a bad game. EXE did a good job to sort of put him in that box as well. And the hope is that Kitsuo now can play maybe a more comfortable champion that fits a comp style that CCG is a lot more successful with. And you got to think that it plays around this bot side as well, because the last 2 games, despite the loss, I mean, the last 2 games, the most successful lane for CCG has been the bot side.
Right, I agree. I totally agree. The dominance, especially in that game 2 early, before it all went downhill with that gank, was astounding. It was like double the CS lead at like 4 minutes. It was absolutely dominant performance. You have to think though, as far as now that CCG's on red side, they banned Nico both games prior. They're 100% going to ban Nico again. I don't see EXE dropping the Poppy ban. And in the last series, they dropped, I believe, an Annie ban for the Cassante CCG.
True.
So I wonder if CCG will double down. They'll be like, no, the Cassante was definitely a problem. Or if they're like, no, we need Annie because we're on red side. Or if they say, that Viego kicked our butts and we need to get rid of that. So there's a lot of draft adaptation because I do think while on CCG, on the side of CCG, I do think there was a lot of misexecution. Like I said, I think like the problem was with execution, not draft. I think they had a winning draft. I think their draft wasn't suited to their play style, and I would like to see them go with a more meatball comp. You know, that has more agency than they did in that game. So that's what I'm looking for as we head into draft here.
Yeah, hopefully you should be good to go through to this draft pretty soon. It was interesting, right? Because in the game 2 draft, we talked about the fact that it was it was right. Like, why did Wukong not go through? Why the Viego, this Rek'Sai house at the end of the Viego certainly proved to be pretty deadly. And we'll see exactly how the jungle matchup plays out for this game number 3 as we are ready to jump into this draft. So let's go ahead and jump over to this game number 3 draft, the do or die one. You heard Keepsake mention it. CCG back on that red side, and it's going to be intriguing to see. Does the Poppy come through this time? Do they let Topo play his comfort? Does the Nico get through for CCG? Is it back to Molly on this, Malil, excuse me, on this Cassante? So many storylines to come across. Keepsake, just excited to see exactly what these bans are. But of course, Exodia Exile still playing with that 1 ban penalty.
Right, so LeBlanc ban also through all 3 games. We're probably going to see Nico LeBlanc again. Banned all 3 games now. I do think that the story now lies in the jungle. So Kitsuo playing now on his debut against BB Swag. Probably like it was either him or Malil who was the top player in the first game, and he was definitely by miles the top player in the second game. So I wonder what's the adaptation. Again, we see the Poppy ban by EXE and the Nico ban by CCG. Nothing new so far. These are the exact same bans from game 1. We'll see where it goes though. If CCG will ban Cassante, if they'll ban Annie, if they'll ban Viego. If they say randomly that Nami was the problem, I don't, clearly I don't know anything about draft. No one picked Wukong. Finally getting Ornn out of here though. That's interesting.
So Malil and Topo have both played Ornn 1 game. You figure that's a ban that would come across maybe in the second phase because you don't really see Ornn picked in the first phase of draft, but EXE don't want anything to do with it.
With how the Ornn's looking so far, I would expect the red side to ban it because it's won every game. You just first pick it and win. They banned the Lucian.
Wow. So Mikkel, they take away Mikkel's Lucian, and that opens up the easy B1 of Cassante.
The last time. But remember, the last time they did this, they picked Cassante B1 in game 1, they lost. So there are a few things you can pick into Cassante. I don't know if I don't think Topo plays Garen or Darius, but those are like some like super like hermit answers if you play those. Topo could play Gnar. I think he's a little bit of a Gnar player, but I expect just a tank in response to that. Weak side.
Ashe.
We'll see Ashe again. I wonder if they go for Ashe Heimer. If they do pick Heimer, it will probably be on R3 because you probably want to like get like a jungler here. Or maybe you need like a Ahri. You need to prio Ahri so they don't take it away from you. Ahri also looking pretty good in this series.
Mikhail played Ashe in game 1 when they lost. So now Rockboom's going to play Ashe. That's locked in. Cho'Gath is going to be the answer to Malil again, this time on the Cassante. So Topo's going to stick with the Cho'Gath despite the game 2 loss.
I don't know about that. I don't know about showing Cho'Gath that early because Cho'Gath is, as far as tanks go, he doesn't have like the most reliable CC. Showing that early means you can pick a champion that has like a lot of mobility in team fights and he can't like necessarily get you. Like you could pick Lee Sin really easily and not be able to have him do anything to you. We will see the Varus coming out though. They do pick Ahri. That's why I was saying you want to pick Ahri on R2 because they're going to take it. You could counterpick with the Sandra. You could get your mid laner out of the way if you think like you need Annie, although Annie doesn't make sense to me with this comp. I mean, like, I guess Ashe around to Tibbers, but I don't think that's good. I don't know. It looks like the team on the EXE has a more team fighting oriented comp so far.
CCG really want to play the disengage. They want to play the long con of the fight right now, especially every time you take Melio against. So Detro's back on Melio duty.
I don't like Melio Ashe. I don't like that combination. It's good for lane. It's good for bullying in lane. But I think Melio has almost no benefit as a pick champion, right? Ashe is like almost entirely pick. Melio does not give you any benefit as a pick support. Like a Nautilus, a Thresh, and Detrio obviously having that amazing performance on that engage support and being so-so at best on that Melio. So I'm really wondering where they want to go with this because so far I favor the draft of EXE.
It certainly is a strong draft so far. The Varus, I'm intrigued to see if Mikhail will go on hit or lethality. I'll be really in that rune choice. That debate has been going on since season 13 kicked off. I mean,
Of course.
at one point, lethality Varus was the really strong one, especially like from Worlds on, and then on hit became definitely a player. So that'll be really interesting to
I think
see.
it depends on what they pick mid here. I'm not 100%
Right.
familiar with Radar. They could go double Enchanter. I don't think that's good. They will have no presence in the early to mid game. I think Azir is also Azir is also not good here. I wonder if they're just gonna pick jungle here and then give counter. Well, no, because they can save counter pick for jungle. What mid do you think they go here? I mean, Syndra possibly, but I
I
don't
like
like that.
Syndra. Wow. So they're gonna swap the mid matchup.
It worked last
So
time for them, so
the old switcheroo. So Decker's on Ari, Radar is on Lissandra. J4 is a jungler that I
lock the
thought we would
J4.
potentially see in game number 2 when we were talking about those weird
Okay.
jungle picks. So that one's locked in first. Wukong, we're doing it again. Keep saying Wukong is up again. I don't know if it's gonna get picked. Senna would be a really intriguing pairing with Varus.
I
It's locked
actually
in.
really like this J4 pick. All the champions on like CCG side, besides there's no mobility on any of these champions, and the Melio cleanse does not work on that wall.
True. Ooh, flashing a lot of carry junglers right now. Vi is still up. Wukong's still up. Kha'Zix.
We will get the Wukong.
Okay, so we finally get the Wukong we were expecting in game number 2. So that sets up a very intriguing comp. I will say, you know, I mentioned it when we talked about game 2 after that. Kitsuo was really nerfed in what he wanted to do with Rek'Sai because of the Frozen Tomb from Decker. He had a couple really good Frozen Tombs, a couple good snares to try and shut down those, you know, tunnels into the flash knockups, into the void rushes. Could see a similar thing here with BB Swag on that J4. You did mention Keepsake really well that there's not a lot of mobility. So these Cataclysms are going to be there. The Flag and Drag knockups are going to be there. But if you can interrupt that engage with Frozen Tomb, those fights could turn a lot of the way we saw EXE turn them in game number 2, just with some different champions involved.
It's so hard for me to get on the side of the CCG comp. Obviously, I think the Senna is like a big question mark. I think the idea of Senna is like, I don't think you're gonna kill us in lane, so maybe I'll just outscale you in terms of like in the Melio. I think that's the idea. I don't like that idea. I think you should just go engage support here because it works with the rest of your comp. You have a Jarvan Ari and a Varus who's looking to snipe people with his ultimate and lead engage. So that's a question mark. But on the side of CCG, I have other question marks too. Like, okay, so you kind of want to go for pick with the Lissandra and the Ashe, and then on the other side, it's like Wukong can kind of go for pick, but like he'd rather team fight, and then like Melio doesn't want to engage mostly at all. He kind of just wants to be like behind lines and you know, kick people away with his soccer ball. What is it? Mega fire kick? Mega super fire.
I just always call it the soccer ball.
Soccer ball.
What's a soccer ball?
Classic. Yeah, I do think that it's easier for CCG to get the bot advantage, I think. So usually double ADC does overpower like ADC and Enchanter in terms of like wave push, but I think with Melio and Melio passive, if it does go somewhat like last game, it's possible that they could get push again and get those early dragons, and that's what I think they need in order to close out this game and this series.
It's really interesting, right? Because the first 2 games we had comps with different ideologies across. Like we've had a early game sort of setting up picks into the mid game comp from each of these sides. We had the scaling comp from each of these sides. I feel like this game now is the most similar sort of comp styles we've had, which is really intriguing for game 3 because if you look at the mid jungle, they both want to do the same thing, honestly. Wukong and Lissandra, once ultimates come online, want to be running around together making picks. BB Swag, J4, Decker, Ari, they want to be running around making picks as well. So it's going to be really intriguing to watch the most similar drafted style game in a way play out for game number 3. And who would have it any other way, Keepsake?
I think obviously eyes here go on to the top and bot again. This mid matchup, again, nothing interesting happens until they go to other lanes. So nothing interesting is going to happen until they go to other lanes, which they will love to. These champions are loving to go to other lanes. Now, last game we saw Radar go for the static Shiv Ari. I'm hoping we don't see that from Decker, because I don't think it was very good. I don't think itemizing into that gave him the stats he needed to make meaningful roams. And this bot side, whoever gets push, whoever gets priority, is going to have huge, massive advantages in the drag fights. And I think getting those early drags, again, buying yourself time to figure out what you need to do. If you mess up, then you don't have to contest the dragon. There's a lot of like leeway you get if you get like some early dragons. And I think CCG theoretically does have the bot lane more prepared to do that, but we'll have to see.
Yeah, we'll have to see, right? I mean, there is so much on stake here. Exodia Exile are undefeated this season. They have not lost a game, number 3. CCG have brought in a new jungler, a new face, a rough start, but they still have a chance at the crown, to steal the crown of the Demacia division right now, to move to 3-1. So much at stake. There's only one way to settle it, folks. We're going back to good old-fashioned Summoner's Rift. One more break, another break, excuse me. But on the other side, glory or falling short is the story for CCG this week. You won't want to miss it.
See you in game 3.
First cross-group game of the season for CCG. First real big-time test in a game number 3 after taking a 1-0 lead against an undefeated Exodia Exiles squad. CCG sub Kitsuo win for his debut. Fall flat and now have a chance to make their mark in history. Back on that red side early on, trying to create some chaos, but will be spotted out. We've had our reservations with a couple of their draft decisions, but there's always one way to prove us wrong, Keepsake, and it's create some chaos in the early game.
I mean, they said, you saw us? Okay. And now they are charging headfirst into the base of EXE, trying to see if anyone dare check the bushes, if anyone dare walk up to them. EXE, smart in that though, back off. Looks like they probably won't try to steal buff. Jarvan pings that he's going to blue, so he doesn't think Kitsuo will stay there. Kitsuo might be staying there. It looks like they might vertical jungle, which is why Jarvan's deciding he will go to that blue buff. No vision on the side here. They do not know if they're being invaded or not.
It's a waiting
Pretty
game,
good,
right?
all things considered, for the side of CCG. However, EXE will see Lucian and Ashe and Melio on their way back to wave because of that push.
Yep.
That Warden try.
But Keepsake, you're right. Looks like vertical jungling will be the call here, as that red buff will go over to Kitsuo, and I assume BB Swag will hightail it up. Yep, and the easy flag and drag over some verticality early. Sporting something the lanes do very often here is in mid lane speaking. We have that reverse of the matchup we saw in game number 2. Radar was on the Ari. Decker was on the Lissandra. Radar went with the fleeting footwork, fully in that static Shiv play, but with Electrocute for Decker, gotta think this is the more traditional Everfrost route that is more about the burstability and locking down champions.
Yeah, I don't think the static Shiv Ari got done what you needed to get done in that match. It didn't create crazy pressure in the side lanes. It really wasn't that useful in team fights. And you just got to acknowledge that maybe if you're using Ari just to get your carries ahead, maybe static Shiv isn't the best option. I think that static Shiv shenanigans belongs on a lot of champions, but I don't know if I'd put it on Ari. We're getting a gank here, maybe. Kitsuo is looking for an angle.
There's a good snare, though, and the soccer ball will land, but no stun comes across. So Kitsuo just creating a bit of pressure here on that vertical jungle path. Did have the faster clear. As you can see, BB Swag is just now finishing up those Krugs. So good job taking advantage of the faster clear speed on this Wukong. Kitsuo had a pretty rough game number 1 for him. Game number 2 for CCG, trying to create more pressure once more. And speaking of pressure, Lily is creating a lot of pressure towards that top side on this Cho'Gath. Topo went back to the Cho'Gath to try and find success once more. In early game, Cho'Gath can be rough, especially against Cassante.
This Cho'Gath pick has been prioritized really heavily in the second game, somewhat heavily in the first game. Really didn't show up in the first game. And so far, I mean, it looks like it's getting bullied kind of hard too in this game as well. I want to see what Topo can actually make of this.
Ooh, good flash stuff from Rockboom to dodge the flag and drag. Detro also having a flash, so BB Swag punishes the lack of vision towards bot side, and he claims 4 summoners for 1 flash flag and drag combo. And now the flash
Oh
forward here from
no.
Mikhail. They're locking down Rockboom. They've got him in a corner.
First
And
blood.
it's first blood for Exile,
Onto Detro.
Exodia Exile. Detro will be able to walk away, but overstepping is punished. Kitsuo now here, but there's not much that he can even get back. We'll let BB Swag just walk out, and EXE are back in the driver's seat just like they were in game number 2.
Kitsuo.
Ooh, just
Onto
jump
Mikhail.
forward. Mikhail doesn't have any flash, but there's not enough damage there. The healing isn't enough, and now
Looking
BB
to
Swag
run.
is here. Good knockback from Detro. Kitsuo had to expend that flash, though, and Barlow just has him cornered and has him cut down. 2-0 opening lead before 5 minutes for Exodia Exile.
You have to wonder what was going on in the comms of CCG there. Like, why Rockboom turned around to hit after they were out, after they expended all 4 sums just to get some poke onto the enemy jungler who was just going to go right back to farming. Or why Kitsuo decided to go in there when they just saw Jarvan leave. You have to wonder, like, what was going on in comms, what was the call that was being made. Maybe someone didn't follow up on something that they said they were going to do or something, because it really looked very disjointed by the side of CCG, which makes it really hard being 1.3k down at 5 minutes. I mean, that's rough, especially considering Ashe is not a scaling champion.
Yeah, Ashe is far from a scaling champ, all about that utility, and now putting them in this hole is just going to be detrimental. And Mikhail, obviously, Varus, you certainly want to benefit from early leads on that lethality one, but I feel like it's even more advantageous on this scaling Varus, because especially with the comp allotted, EXE want to scale up and play for those fights where you get that unhit Varus going crazy. And now he's in a pretty advantageous spot as well to just do serious damage. It doesn't help the top side. Malil has controlled this matchup as well. 2 of the lanes that you mentioned, Keep. You mentioned that CCG were so good in game number 1. They're falling flat once again in the final game.
So also, additionally, the Cassante was able to keep even CS, control the entire topside river, and get a cheater recall without an answer from Topo, which is really unfortunate to see. There is a gank here on the bot side, though. Kitsuo is going in.
Yeah, jumping forward here. There's the dash. Able to slam the pull in. Mikhail has no summoners, but do they have enough damage? They just can't get enough out from this Ashe in time, and the turn nearly kills Kitsuo. And here's BB Swag. They don't even need him. Barlow kills off Kitsuo. The root comes across onto Detro, and it's just ugly in the bot lane. 2 more kills for Exodia Exiles. They're starting to run away with this do or die game number 3.
And what a confusing teleport again from Radar. The second one this series, first on the Seraphine, now on the Lissandra, TPing either too late to have any impact, or in this case, I think he thought that they were going to flag and drag the Ashe, but they just let Ashe go. They didn't care about Ashe. They just had a free kill. They took it, and they knew they could get dragged. Why try to throw the game when you're up so much already? Looks like a good strategy for them. So the teleport also expended. They lose the drag. They lose all the kills. They're behind so much gold. If we look at the gold difference per champion, and we look at like bot lane, look at this advantage. 1k on the support. Both these supports need gold. Senna with gold is not like Alistar with gold. It's not Thresh with gold. She can turn this gold into damage, into hurt. So it's gonna be really, really hard here on out. This game 2 is looking almost worse, I would say, than the beginning of game 3. Or sorry, opposite.
Yeah, it is just really, really rough right now. And we talked about already that CCG, we need to see them kind of step up in the early game this one. And here they're going to try go for a play. Good charm, though. The Frozen Tomb will root, but Decker just flash. Spirit rushes away. The arrow goes just a bit too high. It's another play that just comes up short for CCG. And how much more can they even try this and fall flat before this game just runs away from them?
I think Radar was trying to through the charm in terms of have the charm on the other side of him, so it missed him. If the charm did miss him and he got that instant Frozen Tomb, that Frozen Tomb connects, that arrow connects, and I don't even think you have to use Cyclone at that point. I think he just dies. But if you can use Cyclone to secure the kill. It's really unfortunate he does get clipped by that charm because then he can't cast that Frozen Tomb as quick as he wants.
Here we go, though. Kitsuo jumped on once again. Has to go for the Cyclone. BB Swag
Ari's
just has so
closer.
much more damage here. Another Cyclone. The flash away from both of them. And there is the kill for Radar.
Oh, no.
But it's traded out because on the bot side, once again, Mikhail and Barlow go crazy with 2 kills of their own. Radar going to be picked off by Decker. And Kitsuo can do nothing but watch. 7-1 before 10 minutes for Exodia Exile.
It's catastrophe for the side of for the side of CCG rather. I mean, this could possibly not be a worse beginning. Not only have you already gone under this gold lead, but they're getting plates. You're missing all the CS. You missed all the kills. You missed all the objectives. And your comp doesn't really scale better. I don't think it does. It's going to be an absolute brawl from here on out if CCG does want to make a comeback. You have to think about these like lanes that have been really hard. Good job from Senna. What a support main. It's Barlow eating that one for her Tempo's ADC. What a support.
Really, yeah, just that in the selfless play of a support player, right? Exactly, and certainly does help that the rest of his team is so far ahead. Topo now is going to get the wrath of BB Swag here. The knockup comes across. Flash is available, but he's burning down really quickly and just won't even expend it. Nalil picks up a kill in the top side. And Exodia Exile are showing just why they are undefeated in game number 3. This isn't even this is by far the most one-sided affair of this entire series.
They have 133% of the gold at 10 minutes. They have a third more of the gold at 10 minutes. This is possibly the greatest.
It's getting worse. Oh, Chains of Corruption into Dawning Shadow, and it connects onto Dietra on the next charge as well. They are just mopping everybody up, and Decker drive-by kills Radar off as well. He's on the wrong side of the rift.
Ari's going back in.
2 more Spirit Rush charges. And yeah, BB Swag is just holding the aggro onto Kitsuo. Pops the Cyclone. There's the Cataclysm over top. Uses the clone. Does find the trade. So it's 1-for-1. Decker, though, on a killing spree. And the gold lead at 11 minutes up to over 6,000.
That's it. As soon as this tower drops, that's over 7, I believe. This is a insurmountable amount of stats they will have. Varus actually going into the static shiv. We probably should have imagined that with this lethal tempo going on hit. He has infinite wave clear. He has a lot of gold probably in his pocket if we look at the gold. Yeah, he has, oh my god, a third of his gold. A third. He has 6,000 gold. He has 2 items. He has almost 2 items in his pocket that he has not purchased. He's back now. He doesn't actually buy 2 items. I don't know. Where did all that gold go? Did you just not spend it?
I don't know. The Rage Knight must have costed a bit more than what we're thinking here, but still, I mean, by this point,
wait, it says he's still holding on to the 6,000 gold. Oh
no, that's total gold.
Oh my god, I'm crazy. Okay, didn't happen. You didn't see that.
Nothing happened. All we know is he is pretty close to 2 items. It's also keepsake. Decker already has the Everfrost done. You know, Merc Treads as well, and this Senna would like gold. I mean, it's not like a normal support getting 3, 0, and 5.
Is that
it's Senna
build on that Senna? Or am I seeing?
It might be. I think so. Or is it Shield Bow? It might be Shield Bow.
Immortal Shield Bow. Immortal Shield Bow is such a weird first item, though, right? Like, why would you first item Immortal Shield Bow?
To be honest, I haven't seen that many support Sennas since the item changes. True. So.
Let's see. She does go Bork. She goes Bork.
Bork, yeah.
I think the Bork makes sense here. I think, you know, Emilio makes people artificially tankier. You got the Wukong. You got the obviously the Cho'Gath that we're watching right now try to take down the base. I wonder, actually.
It's a mission. Can we get Shelly to this turret? Malilla's going to try and keep him away. The all-out, though, pulls Topo near the turret. Shelly should be able to get the tower shot, but how much is it going to cost? Because Topo is already dead. See you later. Kitsuo,
on top of Kitsuo.
Now being chased away as well. We'll be able to get back to the turret. So a plate of gold is worth Topo's death. as CCG have just completely collapsed in this do or die game 3. Kitsuo, good catch on a Barlow. The heal, though, there's just not enough Cyclone damage. Will be able to pick it up on the second bout, but should be traded out. And it's Mikhail to claim a 5th kill, now unstoppable in this game.
Gold wise, obviously that's really good for like that trade specifically, like him for Senna. But I think tempo wise, it's actually probably not worth it, right? Because he gets solo gold, right? I don't think that got an assist on it. So what's gonna end up happening is that's just 600 gold, right? The other kill got an assist on it, so that's 450. That's 300 plus an assist. And on top of that, it's much better to have your jungler on the map than your support. They are getting more done having their jungler on the map than having their support on the map. So I don't think, and obviously the timer was even, but I think as a tempo trade, I don't even think you take that.
Here's the fact, the matter of the fact, Keepsake is also, I mean, these are like pulling at straws by this point. It's an 8k gold lead. The objective bounty's already out. They're down in Drakes before 15 minutes. If we're being realistic, I hate to be blunt here. If this was a solo queue game, it's being FF'd in 15 seconds.
Yeah, I would. This is the game where I take bets in LCS on how long it lasts, like how many more minutes there are. That is the type of play we're gonna see here. But on a more analytical perspective, if I was to actually say if there is some way to get into this game, I do think it is. I think it just, you have to be looking for errors and capitalize almost instantaneously. Like this too far up. His team is not with him, but he's Spirit Rush. He's fine, and actually he's so fine. He's looking for a trade.
Yeah, I mean, it's also Detro Emilio, right? Like, maybe if that's the Nautilus like we talked about, or it's a Thresh, that hook is more viable. There's a beautiful arrow from distance. This dive is going to be perfect into the Frozen Tomb. Cyclone. The Decker has the Merc Treads, able to flash out, land a Charm, and the Cleanse is not enough. Decker with the 1v3 outplay to rub salt in the wound of CCG.
Oh no, and they're losing all of topside with this Herald 2. The tier 2 drops, the tier 3 on its way. They will kill the Herald, but so much damage is done. And they're sieging mid as well. The mid tier 2 goes down. The mid tier 3, it's looking like it's pretty low as well. If we can get Han over there, yeah, it's going to go down to just a few autos.
And oh, here comes BB Swag. He's not done. Flag and drag into the Cataclysm. Rockboom has to flash out.
For a sub 20-minute win on this game.
Yeah, I mean, they're in the base, and my God, Mikhail's flashing into their entire team, trying to find trades. Dawnning Shadow nearly picks up one. Kitsuo forward, though, does have a shot down. Topo with the feast, does find the kill on a Mikhail. And BB Swag with no mana, no health, may fall soon, but here comes Barlow, here comes Malil. Topo the next target. The knockback is too easy. Barlow, the second 80 carries, free firing. He's got a triple kill in hand, all on his own right now in the red base. This is 16 minutes, folks, and this is exactly how Exodia Exiles are playing around with their food. 18-4 now on the kill count as they are wiping the floor with CCG.
I think I respect their decision to back if they chase too far.
Oh, no. No. Rockboom. I mean, what's more to say? Steps too forward, Decker punishes, and Detro is the next in auto attack to signify it off. A double. Detro back to the gray screen, and, you know, you're taking those bets. Keepsake, what are we feeling? Are we willing to make the sub 20-minute bet? Because it's rough.
I was going to say I respect them backing off the base because the 3 members with like huge bounties, giving those overs like one of the only ways to like not even lose the game, because even then you don't lose the game if you give over those bounties. But one of the ways to make the game a little closer. So I was gonna say I respect that, but then Rockboom chasing too far in, just giving them free tempo, free gold. I think they will not close it out by, I don't think they'll close it out. Only because they don't have supers. They don't have supers. They didn't break an inhibitor. So yeah. I think they will make it past the 20-minute marker. There's only 2 minutes left. They're going to get this dragon. They're going to look to push waves. They're going to look to take tier 2 on the bot side, have all the tier 2 turrets down, look to take an inhibitor, and then they're just going to kind of clean it out, finish the game clean. Not try to risk too much. I mean, why risk it when you're in the driver's seat? You're not even in the driver's seat. You own the entire lot. You own the entire parking. You own the entire business. You own every car that's ever existed. I mean, you can press one button and be in like the next state in like 30 minutes with how much mileage they're getting out of this comp. So
Ooh, good flag
love
drag
to
with
see.
BB Swag. He tanks the piercing arrow, and the Cataclysm locks everybody into the
Oh my God.
meat grinder. Decker is just farming kills like nobody's business. Topo on the back
Topo?
line, though, does end up finding that kill on
Feast?
Mikhail once more, but the Feast is already down. He can't do it again. It's a triple kill for Decker. Topo's hero play only finds one, and now EXE just have the red base all to themselves.
Wow, in this game 3, I love how I think they that EXE allowed a different member in each game to show off. In game 1, it was that top lane. In game 2, definitely that jungle. And in game 3, I think the entire bot side of the map played extremely, extremely well. It's going to be really hard to come up with an MVP there because they all had amazing moments. I mean, this team, game 1, they didn't even look like the same team. They have consolidated so much with these rotations. This rotation power by EXE is dominating. They always have more players when they need more players, where they need more players, at the right times. And that's really the difference. That's really the difference I see right here.
You know, you got to hats off to BB Swag as well because, you know, last game on the Viego absolutely took over in the kill department, was just killing member after member of CCG. This time more supportive, and, you know, 17 KP is the second highest on this team right now. It might just knock that number up more as he's jumping onto Topo. There's the piercing arrow to shut BB Swag down. Mikhail is going to be heralded and jumped on once more. Detro will find that kill, but there's just not enough gold, and the rest of EXE show up to massacre CCG in an instant. Malil picks up a double kill. Decker getting in on it, and blink and you miss it. There's the ace. There's the triple kill. The teleport into the base. That's going to wrap it up just at the 20-second mark as they FF the game. CCG go from 1-0 up and drop the series 2-1 to Exodia Exile, who improves to 4-0 on the young ACL season. What a way to close out that series. I mean, this is not what we expected. I mean, after game 1, Keepsake, we thought maybe that would be a blowout to the side of CCG. They were all in control of game 1, and then game 2 they sputtered, and safe to say, whatever ship, vehicle, car, whatever metaphor we're making, it exploded.
This was an absolute dominant performance in this game 2 and 3. They gave each of their members time to show exactly what they were made of. This was an absolute wonderful, wonderful game 2 and 3 that EXE just really played well. I thought they had an interesting draft strategy for game 2 and 3 that was missing in game 1. And in game 2 and 3, I mean, they just looked like a different team. They were consolidating way better. All their pieces, all their individual talents seemed like they were perfectly fit in with the comp that they were trying to do and with all the things that they were aiming at.
Yeah, it was just a full. This is. I thought I was gonna talk about this in the game, Keepsake, because I thought it wouldn't end that quickly at the 20-minute mark. I'm not gonna lie, not to rub salt in the wound here, but we talked about before we got into this game through Exodia Exile. They're 3-0, but they've played the maximum amount of games. So what does that show you? Resiliency. They have been resilient time and time again. You made the analogy to teams. I believe it was like JDG or yeah. Yeah, I think that was the JDG thing that they're fine dropping game number 1s.
Oh, Top Esports.
Sorry, Top Esports. Yeah,
all
switching
good.
up my LPL teams. Top have made a career out of just dropping game 1s and being willing to play out the series. Exodia Exile have showed that 4 weeks in a row now, and that sort of resiliency is something that really speaks to championship pedigree in my mind. I know it's early in the season, but when you look at markers for teams, that's something that has to scream out.
I will say, I want to put a silver lining on this loss for CCG because you did see this game 1. This, against EXE, this is a top team in this league. This is one of, if not the best. This is a top team in this league. EXE, they took game 1 pretty convincingly. I think if they, again, like I said, how JDG just plays one style, because this is the JDG metaphor where you thought I was referencing. The JDG metaphor, JDG plays one style. If there's someone who counters their style, they don't care because they're so good at their style. They don't need to have the perfect matchup to win because they master their style. When I saw this team, when I saw CCG play in this like style, that was this meatball that was everyone's in together. I saw an amazing player, an amazing team together forming around each other, and you know what? I'd like to see that play style more going forward.
Yeah, certainly something you would like to see going forward is massive. And you know, you do mention it, right? CCG, they do go blow to blow with the team that is hailed as one of the best in the ACL right now. I guess the problem is we kind of forget, we talked about at the beginning, but this EXE squad did actually play with 2 substitutes, and they
Yeah,
still end up coming up with this series. So gotta be the deepest team in the ACL right now.
yeah. Absolute kudos and nothing but respect to EXE. Played an amazing series. Um, and I'm glad to have casted it with my dear friend Slayer.
Oh, that was very kind, Keepsake. It was awesome watching all the analytics you threw out. Especially love the death sentence.
Death
Just teaching
paragraph.
death paragraph was
Oh,
certainly
thank you,
good.
thank you.
You know, we reflect this back to CCG's side. There's certainly a lot. The silver lining you always get were tough losses, especially tough 3 game losses. There's a lot of film to go over. So, Kitsuo, you know, we were told he had a great week of practice. Was going to come in and perform well. Certainly, got to think it was a bit shaky because, like you mentioned, couldn't make game number 1. What do you want to go back and see from him on the drawing board going into next week? Hopefully, that he'll get another shot.
Ooh, I don't know. I think his gank efficiency was really bad. So what I want to do is I want to say, so Ditro, sorry, is really well known for like his vision, obviously. Um, it seemed like every time that Kitsuo was bought, he was never able to get anything done. He one time early in the second game, he got both like a ton of subs, but every
Mhm.
other time he either seemed to get counter ganked and like totally caught off guard, or they knew he was coming, or they knew he was coming and like he couldn't do anything, or the wave was pushed and it wasn't right. It seemed like he was just really disconnected with like the vision that they had, and maybe he needs uh, his support to clear out more vision or deny vision in order to get those angles. But I don't know. It was really a problem with, I think his pathing was really televised. I think everyone knew what he was trying to do, and because of that, he just wasn't able to do anything. Because that invade, you're like, usually if someone has the vertical jungle, they still lose a little bit. BB didn't lose anything. BB got everything he wanted on that invade. So it's really unfortunate to see that shake out that way.
Yeah, certainly a lot of things to make up for. On the other side, you had BB Swag, and we do an MVP every week, regardless of the if CCG take that win. And BB Swag does get our MVP award for this week. So congratulations to him. Had 2 monstrous final games to close out this series. The Viego was, I believe, nearly perfect. No, I believe it was perfect because he had the
Call it
GA.
perfect.
A perfect game at the end of the day. He ended up going 13-0-9 by the end of that one, and then he showed his, you know, multifaceted ability on that J4. He went 2-3-20, led the team in assists in that game 3 win. So 18-9-34 across the entire series. Shout out to one of the best junglers in the ACL.
Yeah. I mean, I believe he was subbed in, right? So for a sub as well, right?
Oh yeah, I believe that's
What
true.
an amazing, what an
He's filling in for
amazing
Alonso.
performance from a player who's not even supposed to be starting. Probably makes EXE rethink who's starting, huh?
I mean,
I would.
who knows?
Um, but yeah,
Yeah, but so that is our final award, BB Swag. Congratulations to that as you stepped into the limelight and did that. That will unfortunately kind of close out our slate for this week on the ACL coverage for CCG. Keepsake, you got any final thoughts before we get out of here?
both of these teams showed moments of brilliance today. And I think we will see these teams go far. I think both these teams not only are good teams as is, but like in the moments in which they were excelling, we can see like how far they can go. Cuz sometimes when you see a series, you're like, this team, they don't have anywhere to go. They don't have those moments of brilliance. CCG, I think today, obviously EXE, no one's gonna like with how dominant game 2 and 3 were. No one's gonna say that they aren't an amazing team. But I think CCG, based on that game 1, if they can find their tempo, their strategy, and commit, I think they can be a top dog in the ACL.
Well, you heard the encouraging words there from Keepsake. Hopefully, CCG can bounce back from this loss against Exodia Exiles. They head back to the Noxus division for their next week. So we'll look forward to that. Of course, always stay locked to the CCG Twitch channel where we're on here and the Twitter to see when the next game is coming across for ACL action. Down the line for NACL Open qualifiers. I believe the closed qualifiers are going on now with group stages, so make sure to check out that on Twitter. But that wraps things up for us here. Special shout out, as always, to Keepsake. It was a pleasure to debut casting with you, my friend. And as
Thank
always,
you.
shout out to Gurf behind the scenes, the magic man, the Heimerdinger lover himself, taking us through the whole thing with the on point graphics and the observing. I've been Slayer. That's going to close out our Friday night. Enjoy the rest of your weekend, folks, and make sure to come back next week for some more ACL action on the CCZ Twitch channel. Take care.